The severe toxicity of the dental composites metallicus plus Bisphenol-A. 1.1. It is not enough just to worry about chemtrails, fluoride in drinking water, sweetener aspartame and other additives in foods, nanotechnology of new design drug placed in the wrapping paper of cigarettes, toxic products attached to clothes, electromagnetic waves of antennas, chemical pluriformulation drugs of corporal collateral aggression or functional inhibition or mental sedative, modification of the genetic program by physical, professional, media, linguistic intervention. 1.2. Paradoxically, society is concerned about the components of chemtrails that are fumigated in the skies, when such components have already been introduced, by voluntary consent, in the teeth of citizenship, by means of metal composites plus bisphenols, in intimate contact with the dentine and with its blood and nervous supply of direct and very close connection, as control command, with the brain. 1.3. These are the components of the chemtrails, which are intended to avoid barium salts, carbonic acid, silver iodide, zinc oxide, dimethyl sulfoxide, barium and perchlorate, diatomites, calcium chloride, ammonia, carbon dioxide, butane, isobutane, propane, freons, aluminum, sulfuric acid and superabsorbent polymers, metal oxides among them, aluminum oxide, toxic metals such as aluminum, barium and titanium, self-assembling polymers, carbon nanotubes, aluminum, barium, arsenic, aluminum, diatomite, diamoic acid, barium, boron, chromium, dibromide ethyl, lithium, manganese, polymers. Links https://trinities.wordpress.com web link https://resistantiafrentilaviolentia.wordpress.com web link apocalypticus.overblog.s web link https://eminopes.com web link M0co2. But there is something more harmful for human health. 2.1. Today, experts in neurofocal therapy are concerned with oral health in relation to dental implants of metals pure or, in isolation, of certain toxic resinous components, such as bisphenol-A, but never of metals not in pure state content in formulations of complex metallic chemical compounds within dental composites. 2.2.1. By contacting the best composites manufacturing laboratories at the request of a natural composite toothpaste without metals, they answer by always authoring composites pastes with the following or similar composition: urethane dimethacrylate UDMA matrix, and dimethacrylate chromonomer, when they do not contain BisGMA. Added FlururoAlunioSilicato, Strontium glass, Lanthanum fluoride, resin BisGMA, ethoxylated, Bisphenol-A-Dimethacrylate, 25% mineral filler content BaAlBSi, silanized, 0.7 m, maximum 2.6 m 75%. You will not find any material that is free of any metal compositions, that is, every material on the market contains metal oxides or other metal salts, as filler particles, for instance aluminum silicate, barium alumisilicates, iron oxide, IPC. At present, the main manufacturers of dental composites continue betting on traditional systems, incorporating in a majority way in their organic matrix the monomer BisGMA, TEGMA, or the association BisGMA, UDMA, TEGMA. The monomer matrix is composed of dimethacrylates from 17% to 18% by weight. The fillers contain barium glass, ytterbium trifluoride, mixed oxide. These are formed from the union of two basic oxides of metal and copolymer of the 82% to 83% by weight. Metals added in their inorganic matrix filler, either zirconium for example as zirconite, aluminum for example, as aluminum silicate, or other metal. 2.2.2. Requesting more information from several laboratories, distributors of dental products, about composites pastes for allergic patients, they recommend the best found in the market, as is the following paste. Resin 263 mg BisGMA, BisGMA. Mineral filler content 737 mg BaAlBSi, silanized, 0.7 m, maximum 2.6 meters. Which means that, by the initial bis the bisphenol has not been completely eliminated. And by the letters BaAlBSi, silanized contains metals of barium, aluminum and boron, the latter, semiconductor metalloid, which lacks bisphenol-A, but still contains the same or similar metals in compound formulation than the general composites indicated above. 2.2.3. That is, why it must be deduced from such investigation that there is a coordination, a joint plan or restrictive actions of the competition and production of the market in this productive sector, among the manufacturers of dental composites so as not to produce any other paste composites dental that does not contain metals in its compound chemical formulation. 2.2.3.1 This is both arguing his motivation for indicating that it is a technically very good product to adhere to the dentine and achieve the best mechanical, non-contractive and aesthetic characteristics, as well as for asserting with rotundity the lack of side effects, even stating that, for those who intend to assimilate them to a metallic character thanks to their metallic atoms contained in them, they have been purged of their indicate pretended malignancy metal when metals no longer pure are integrated into chemical formulations that have eliminated in such formulation their metal behavior. 2.2.3.2 In this same sense, the defense of your product dental composite with metallic atomic components is developed by a chemical technician from a renowned German manufacturer of composites. We can offer you a material that is called, which is completely free of bisphenol A. You will not find any material that does not contain any metal composition, that is, any material on the market contains metal oxides or other metal salts such as filler particles, egg, aluminum silicate, barium aluminosilicates, iron oxide, etc. The key point is that these metal compounds are not pure elemental metals, which means that, for example, aluminum silicate behaves completely differently than aluminum metal. On the other hand, there is no release of pure metal from any metallic salt, nor is there any chemical reaction within the material, which produces pure metal from a metal compound. In contrast to elemental metal, the metal part in a metal exists as an ion, that is, in aluminum silicate we do have the Al2+ ions, but not aluminum particles with the typical bright metallic luster. Unfortunately, this metal story and its ordinary conclusion is a lack of belief of a lot of users, mainly induced by the name. It is complicated to explain to a non-chemical that there is no aluminum metal inside, although the material is called aluminum silicate. Quote, It must be considered that the following is scientifically recognized: the metal in elementary state does not produce energy. To produce energy must undergo an ionization process that can be by dissolution, corrosion or galvanism. This process is facilitated by the contact of the metal with biological fluids, saliva, blood plasma, tissues, stomach acids, etc. Quote, 2.2.3.3 That is to say, they intend to impose the idea that a pure metal would no longer behave with its metallic characteristics when it is integrated in chemical compound formulations together with other elements of the periodic table. 3. The following is forgotten or obvious. 3.1 Currently, companies of international prestige in conducting tests of hypersensitivity to metals, such as melissa.org, www.melissa.org, and others similar in the sector, never perform their tests of allergy, hypersensitivity to metals starting of samples of them in their pure state, but they do so by taking them as elements in composition, formulated as oxides, sulfates, silicates, etc. For example, aluminum silicate, titanium sulfate, barium oxide, etc., in order to detect its reaction to exposure thereto by a blood sample from the subject to be tested. 3.2 Sufficient positive reaction to such metal compounds to determine that such an individual is allergic, hypersensitive and potentially capable of causing serious damage to such pure metal or its compound formulated with it. 3.3 Having already investigated sufficiently this causal relationship cause introduction in the human body of a certain metal or compound chemical formulation, effect organic or mental damage subsequently detected, non-existent previously, without another intervening concomitant element being fulfilled, thus, the factual elements of the conviction of the Court of Justice of the European Union, dated June 21, 17-1-, and, consequently, to be able to reproduce such fact always caused by the same factor, and provoking always the same effect found, it must be determined that said investigation is endowed with a scientific character by its repetitivity, as soon as the cause-effect relation is always statistically repeatable and verifiable. 3.4 Therefore, tables or typologies of adverse effects on health have already been drawn up, such as diseases, caused, inexorably and without any other connective link or intervening factor, by the recent or immediate insertion in the body of materials composed of elements pure metallic or in chemical compound formulation. 3.4.1 lists and typologies of metals or metal compounds inserted in the human body, and their corresponding very adverse effects caused in human health are the following: metal sensitivity, www.melissa.org, web link; implant allergy, www.melissa.org, web link; patient testimonial, www.melissa.org, web link; associated diseases, www.melissa.org, web link; research case reports, www.melissa.org, web link. 4. It should be noted that the Melissa test is detecting hypersensitivity allergy, ability to make the human body sick before its reaction to metal compounds, such as titanium oxide, that is, to determine if a person is allergic hypersensitive, capable of getting sick before a metallic element of the periodic table. Part of testing in laboratory, their capacity to react allergically hypersensitively, capable of making a chemical compound with a metal atomic element, sufficing that the test is positive to determine, really and effectively, that such an individual is allergic hypersensitive, capable of sickness both before one such chemical composite with an atomic metallic element, as before to the metal atomic element in pure state. 4.1. That is to say, and note well what is meant here, because it is fundamental, once a person has been tested by TET, Melissa or other similarly positive, as allergic hypersensitive, able to become ill with titanium oxide as a chemical composite with a metallic atomic element, it is also considered, because thus really it has been investigated casuistically and statistically, that it is to say, that it is also to the metal of titanium in its pure state. 4.2. This nuance wants to be hidden in the answers that have been received from laboratories that manufacture dental products. As composites, they affirm that a metal stops behaving as such, that is to say, as an element with characteristics capable of causing allergy hypersensitivity disease in the human body, once, already, it is in a compound chemical formulation in which it has become part of other components of the periodic table. 4.3. Simply, this is not the case, by irrefutable scientific demonstration, casuistically and statistically, thanks to the research carried out by the laboratories of companies that develop allergy hypersensitivity tests, the ability to get sick from metals. They have shown that both such allergic reaction hypersensitivity occurs to one pure metals as before to chemical compounds with metallic atomic element in its formulation. 4.4. But, what's more should be advanced in this exhibition against the chemical compounds with metallic atomic element in their formulation that can cause allergy hypersensitivity disease in the human body. 4.4.1. Even, the chemical composite itself with metallic atomic element in its formulation can be more toxic, cause more allergy hypersensitivity disease in the human body than metal itself in a pure state. 4.4.1.1. This is easy to reason based on the following facts recognized by the chemistry of the elements. A metal in the pure state is atomically bound with a higher atomic cohesion capacity than when it is integrated in a certain chemical composite with a metallic atomic element in its formulation, in whose formulation is found the metal atom with a specific cohesion between the whole of its varied components that can be of lower attraction force and retention between its elements before the maintenance and permanence in the whole of the composite set of elements of the chemical formulation. 4.4.1.1.1. This depends on the greater or lesser cohesive force with which the concrete electronic valence of the metal acts to remain attached to the set of elements that are part of the chemical formulation, where it is located. 4.4.1.1.2. In some cases, the interatomic cohesion of the metal, with each other and with the other atoms of the formulation, where it is present, will be strong, and, in other cases, it may be weaker, or very weak, so that it stores, electronically and chemically, to easily discharge from such chemical formulation by lacking the atomic coherence sufficient to remain in strong stability and union with the rest of atoms of other elements of the periodic table with which it is formulated, and also, with the metal atoms themselves, which, it is to be foreseen, that in such a formulation with other non-metallic atoms, they may lose cohesion force between the metal atoms, of greater distension than in the structure existing in the pure metal itself. 4.4.1.1.3. With which, it is virtually possible and reasonable founded entity to conclude that, based on the above determinations, a greater detachment of metal atoms, a fluidity, secretion, loss, spill, Leakage of metal elements atoms of the structure of composites towards dentina itself with its extreme capacity of absorption by its veins and nerves by direct contact with the composite, gums, and out of the composite collected in the mouth and absorbed internally, contaminating the entire organism. 4.4.1.1.4. For all these reasons, it is more possible that the composite with metallic atoms should have a capacity to be more allergenic, causing of hypersensitivity disease than metal itself in a pure state because of its greater capacity to detach of its compound chemical formulation, where it is found as a metal atom in combination with less cohesion strength than in the purely metallic structure of pure metal itself. Rhetorically, it can be argued that a pure metal will lose certain characteristics or metallic behaviors found in its pure state when combined with other elements to form a chemical compound. You can lose some specific characteristics, and also acquire other more harmful, as is the case. It is natural for this to happen, that some characteristics of such an atom in its pure state are not the same as those in a state composed of other elements. But, being the same atomic element a metal atom, it is not proper in expressive terms that it is said that it loses its metallic characteristics, when it goes from being such an atom of a metal of pure state to a state composed with other metallic elements or not. It is not of expressive property that this can be affirmed, since a metal atom is metallic, and of metallic characteristics from the moment that it is identified in the periodic table as a metallic element. And it results from a supine inaccuracy, at least, with deceptive purposes of concealment of its new more damaging characteristics, the indication that it loses its metallic characteristics, expressing with it that they are all of them, when, in fact, they can be some of them, not specified, for greater expressive lightness, and acquiring greater virulence or aggressiveness towards the human organism with the new compound formulation, as will be said. When a compound with a metallic atomic element is manufactured, and, already, the allergy hypersensitivity metal testing laboratories warn, because they have detected the result of their tests that such metallic atomic element pure or combined that such metal causes serious human damages in humans demonstrated by the scientific method cause, effect and its permanent possibility of repetitive validity of such experiment always with the same elements of fact, it is necessary its immediate withdrawal from the market. It is not just isolated damage to isolated individuals and specific affected. The enormous extension of such allergy hypersensitivity hyperactivity that is being found, increasingly, being a test that has been done to a reduced human group which can be predicated on its extensibility and necessity duty of withdrawal from the market by the criterion health prudence, suggests that the entire human race is hypersensitive to multiple metals, trying only to determine the greater or lesser degree of affectation that it causes in specific individuals, as the content of the secret pact affirms, with yet a knowledge of a cryptic society with cutting-edge high-tech secret knowledge, a book that can be over 150 years old. The maintenance in the market of such compounds, in spite of having already been discovered in modern laboratories, by the scientific procedure with a repeatable character, that they are harmful for the human being due to causing allergy hypersensitivity organic defensive hyperreaction, implies an awareness and will injure the world population with such compounds. And, to seek their defense one they elude the knowledge of the results of such hypersensitivity tests on metals the same ones with which such compound composites are made and of the casuistry of damages that they provoke, and to affirm that such compounds with atoms of metallic elements lose their metallic characteristics when they pass from pure metals to metals in compounds. The latter being a mere play on words whose use denotes the bad faith of those who use such rhetoric. It pretends to hide an atom of metal in a compound, where it is integrated, as it is, an atom of metal. And such a concealing attitude denotes the recognition of an implicit capacity to harm that, with such concealment, is tacitly attributed to the metal itself. The concealer knows the damaging capacity of the hidden object, and, therefore, hides it. But he hides it in a clumsy way, so that by not paying attention to what substance is used in the hypersensitivity tests aluminum silicate, he indicates that in the compound formed by a composite aluminum silicate, the pure metal has lost in the compound its metallic characteristics. And it is indicated that this concealment defense is awkward, because they have not realized that it is the same compound egg, aluminum silicate, that is taken as a substance to be tested in the hypersensitivity tests to determine if the metal contained in it in the state of egg, oxide or sulfate or silicate causes hypersensitivity allergy to subject to be tested. And this regardless of whether or not the metal characteristics of the metal in such a composite have already been lost, which results in mere rhetoric without meaning, since the purpose intended is to determine if such substance causes damage inexcusable with such a foolish rhetoric without collation or connective link with the center of the question, other than the pretense of confusing in the human being, and the casuistic nature and taxonomy of the same observed with the nexus of causality existing between the placement of such substance, metal, and the detection of harmful symptoms correlated without the existence of another intervening element with virtual capacity to cause similar damage. 4.4.1.1.5. It is very bad faith and proof of the existence of a machination and monopoly agreements and restrictive practices of competition and production in the sector of composites manufacturers, because they have been discovered: 1. That there are metals that cause hypersensitivity allergy, serious diseases, when they are inserted into implants and composites in the human body. Numerous laboratories that perform such tests have verified and well researched with the scientific method cause, effect, repetitability with the same conditions, and developed a comprehensive casuistic taxonomy of organic and functional damage well established and founded. To the European sector, at least, of manufacturers of composites has not taken into account these discoveries and verified damages to health, and has not taken into account these discoveries and irrefutable evidence. And it continues to manufacture and offer exclusively, in manufacturing monopoly, the same composites with the same metals in their composition that have been detected as hypersensitivity, allergy, hyperactivity, and as harmful to human health. 3. No manufacturing laboratory is offering a single dental composite that lacks metals in its composition, when 3.1. Society is demanding, alarmed by the effects of heavy metals, and less heavy, such as aluminum, which there are numerous campaigns in the food sector, or in the aerosol sector, to end its expansion and toxicity confirmed as a hormone disruptor. 3.2. The alternative is very simple, and lacks the need for expensive research. In the same Wikipedia, other components of proven toxicity are indicated, due to their irrefutable naturalness: silicon or quartz without metals, and, where appropriate, with small brush strokes of technology, hydroxyapatite well prepared for this purpose, as a filling element, and natural resins as an element of compaction. Faced with this simple solution, the laboratories that manufacture composites continue to manufacture the harmful composites composed of metals in repetition and implementation of the plan established more than 150 years ago in the secret agreement indicated. And, all, in unison, manufacture such metal composites of metal compounds, with metals, without any of them being manufacturing one only lacking metals, to adapt to the results of the new tests of hypersensitivity to metals that are demonstrating the serious lascivity and affectation to the health of such composites currently manufactured. Therefore, it cannot be a coincidence, because the market is demanding the manufacture of such dental composites without metals and toxic resins. And it is the manufacturing laboratories themselves, as a whole, which, at unisono, of mutual agreement, have pacted between them not to supply the market manufacturing composites without metallic elements, restricting competition, impeding the initiatives and innovation of their manufacture in the sector. So the U directive of the UE is being violated. That prohibits restrictive practices of competition and innovative manufacturing initiatives in the market of healthy products. 4.4.1.1.6. Giving rise to a greater spill, fluida, more metal atoms are discharged to the interior of the human body, by means of composites that through the placement of pure metals egg, titanium implants in oral restorations. Repeating, here, the following: the metal in elementary state does not produce allergy. To produce allergy must undergo an ionization process that can be by dissolution, corrosion or galvanism. This process is facilitated by the contact of the metal with biological fluids, saliva, blood plasma, tissues, stomach acids, etc. And the ionization process of a metal is usually faster in a chemical formulation of a compound with metal in one of its elements composite, than in the pure metal itself. 5.1 Increasingly, at present, the seriousness of the ailments between repaired patients with dental fillings by means of composites that have come to extend worldwide and enormously surrounded by an aura of naturalness and aesthetics, always avoiding their manufacturing laboratories to provide information on their components, claiming a false ecological and healthy and undamaged with those who are media surrounding. 5.2 And this, unfortunately, due to misleading advertising, disinformation and deviating from the true origin of the causes of diseases by allergy hypersensitized metals, which have spread without chromatistic limits. Both the manufacturing laboratories and the professional manipulators of such metal composites, whose final professionals, dentists, most of them, are unaware of this cause-effect relationship between metals and diseases caused by them due to hypersensitivity, and even limit themselves to applying the composite products supplied by laboratories, no more research on its effects than those reported in professional congresses that have attended for free and paid by the laboratories themselves to promote their sales, more like meetings of society among professional elites, consumed with avidity of invitation and assistance. 6. Facts that are easy to determine casuistically and statistically, from a mere collection of data based on those available from affected entities or hypersensitivity testing laboratories and research on the subject. II. 7.1 Venomous quality of metals in its performance with the biology of the human body. First, esoteric references of the poisonous quality of metals. The Secret Agreement. PDF https://numasmenteris.wordpress.com Web link number more 368 Metals. They are accelerators of aging. Metals will cause them to lose their minds. Poisons will be absorbed by their skin and their mouths. They will destroy their minds and their reproductive systems. When their teeth deteriorate, we will fill them of metals that will kill their minds and steal their future. 2 Scientific fundamentals reported by the world's best reference laboratory in dentistry and in orthopedic implants to detect due to its MELISA test hypersensitivity to metals. www.melissa.org Web link Metal sensitivity www.melissa.org Web link Implant allergy www.melissa.org Web link Patient testimonial www.melissa.org Web link Associated diseases www.melissa.org Web link Research Case reports www.melissa.org Web link Test www.melissa.org Web link Melissa Laboratories www.melissa.org Web link. 7.2 Effects of heavy metals in the body. Arsenic has bronchitis, cancer of the esophagus, larynx, lung and bladder, hepatotoxicity, vascular diseases. Beryllium B irritation of mucous membranes and skin, lung cancer. Cadmium CD bronchitis, emphysema, nephrotoxicity, infertility, prostate cancer, neurological alterations, hypertension, vascular diseases. Chromium Cr nephrotoxicity, hepatotoxicity, lung cancer. Mercury Hg neurological alterations, conditions of the respiratory system, autism, depression. Lead Pb neurological alterations, decrease in children's IQ, nephrotoxicity, anemia, kidney cancer. Mercury, the most studied and known heavy metal, and the pathologies it presents and how to cleanse the organism is mercury. When we remove this metal from the body, the rest of the toxic metals, even in larger quantities, are dislodged with greater ease, this metal being the main one to overcome. This metal is responsible for destroying cellular microtubules, preventing the elimination of toxins. 8. Case confirmed of diseases arising as a result of the insertion of 2 titanium screws of dental implants in the upper and lower jaw of the right side of the mouth. Decreased vision in the right eye, with detection of incipient cataracts, right ear pain, perforation of the eardrum of the right ear, light whining of the right eye, trigeminal pain on the right side, cold in the right ear and right trigeminal area, resecar inside the nose, nostrils, pain in left lingual nerve, general fatigue, daytime sleep difficulty, falling asleep, sleeping, throat discomfort, located more on his right side, thinning, heaviness of head, reduction in the number of red blood cells and iron. After the removal of both implants, these symptoms disappeared. 9. Metals are qualified as accelerators of aging in the book The Secret Pact, which, verbatim, indicates in this respect metals they are accelerators of aging. Metals will cause them to lose their minds. Poisons will be absorbed by their skin and their mouths. They will destroy their minds and their reproductive systems. When their teeth deteriorate, we will fill them of metals that will kill their minds and steal their future. 10. Modern medicine has accomplished inserting in the human organism numerous metallic artifacts, orthopedic implants. Dentistry, hand in hand with medicine itself, has inserted them into the mouth for more than a century, as an amalgam of mercury and silver, taking advantage of their rapid hardening by mixing them. 11. Alarmed citizenship by the toxicity of mercury and its fluids and vapors in the mouth. Dental laboratories have invented the composite, which lacks mercury. Its composition is organic matrix Bis-GMA Bisphenol-A-Dimethacrylate, has a high molecular weight, is very viscous so it is difficult to handle. Its chemical structure has two reactive bonds at both ends of the molecule. UDMA methacrylate urethane was discovered in 1974. It differs from the previous one in that it has better viscosity, rigidity and lower polymerization contraction. Monomers, they are low molecular weight particles, also called viscosity controllers. Inorganic filler. In all composite resin, the organic part will give the negative properties and the inorganic filler part the positive properties. The most commonly used minerals for inorganic fillers are quartz, zirconite, zirconium oxide (ZrO2) and aluminum silicates, Al2CO33. Other components we can mention: binding agents, they are the silanes. Initiators, activators, it can be by means of a chemical reaction using benzoyl peroxide and tertiary amines, or by photochemical reaction, by phytopolymerization, using camphorquinone and tertiary amines. Composition. https://s.wikipedia.org Web link. Toxicity of dental resins composite. https://s.wikipedia.org Web link. Composite resins review of the materials and clinical indications. Silo.ici.s web link. SCRIPT equals SCIARTTXT and PID equals S169869462006000200023. https://www.google.com web link. SA equals T and R, CT equals J and Q equals and E, SRC equals S and SOU, RCP equals W, B and CD equals 1 and CAD equals RJA and UAT equals 8 and VED equals 0, UQE 0, 3 FDX 9 HBA HVT BQ KHAO NA NWQ FGG OMA and URL equals https://3%2f%2 fwww.20minutus.s%2 fnatisha%2 f2,951,579%2 f0%2 finistinod visodlerorliminodder feelings silvermerroywerns odd tiger nodder%. 2f and us equals ALVA 311 GT V Z51 XMC BU2 GLNTX 12, but, with its use, very serious sequelae or side effects have been detected in its carriers. The components of bisphenol A, that is, the compacting resin itself, are being blamed for its side effects. However, the metals that compose it are never directly accused, which are hidden in their composition as chemical mixtures with other natural elements, such as ZrSO4 or aluminum silicates. It should be noted that, according to the chemical formulation, based on its formulation by its component molecular weights, of ZrSO4 compound has a weight of 48.6631016%. Zirconium as a transition metal close to titanium, and, in a chemical formulation of aluminum silicate, Al2CO33, it has a 19.148936% by weight of L atoms, aluminum, of which its serious effects on nature have recently been described as a main component of the chemtrails, and their toxicity as a wrapper, egg, impacts or cand. 13. The discussion has been settled by means of allergy hypersensitivity tests to certain metals that some laboratories have facilitated. 14. Finally, The research work of the MELISA organization, with its web www.melisa.org web link, has settled the question in an indisputable scientific way. It has compiled a casuistry of those affected, with its symptoms diagnosed, has designed a test for the determination of hypersensitivity to metals, the MELISA test memory lymphocyte immunostimulation assay, and has determined the favorable effects that have been detected in patients who decided to remove implants in any part of the body or implants or dental fillings. This MELISA test is considered, in protocol of good dental practice, meeting the minimum criteria of prudence necessary, as prior and essential before an implant insertion or dental filling. 15. Obviously, due to the criterion of survival in the sector, the dental and dental laboratory interests, as well as the congresses of its professionals, always promoted and paid for by the respective laboratories, hide this data and the need for prudence. And almost no dentist informs his patient about the minimum prudence required to perform a previous allergy hypersensitivity test to metals, before inserting an implant or dental filling. In addition, the dentists themselves almost never report the components of the composites, and less, the metallic character of the same, and even less, of the already detected existence of patients affected by secondary effects to them. They even attribute the qualification of ceramics to composites, trying to make understand with such a term the non-existence of other allegedly toxic components or allergy hypersensitivity reagents in the human race, or in specific individuals of the same, to test precautionary prior to insertion. Actually, both dental laboratories and dentists do not report on the severity of the accelerating effect of aging and other side effects caused by dental implants and dental fillings, since this is the cornerstone for their survival. To know the public, all your current professional activities of inserting materials in the mouth of a patient client would be qualified as harmful and harmful to human health, and your business should be closed, not adapted to the insertion of natural materials, natural or close to natural dental enamel, such as hydroxyapatite. And, obviously, as in all human activities by mere criterion of survival, such professionals avoid reporting their side effects, or, those who know them, by mere communication of their patients or their own investigations, try to avoid recognizing their patients the true origin of their symptoms after the implant or inserted metallic filling, and they attribute them fraudulently and grossly in front of all scientific logic repeatable process with the same factors, and even accuse their own patient of paranoid schizoid characteristics in terms of classical Greek learned in their official faculties or pharmaceutical congresses, with the authority that society recognizes them. 16. The best solution would be 1. An organic matrix of special resin and 2. An inorganic filler coating in absolute metallic atoms, allergens such as zirconium, barium, aluminum, boron or other similar, proven to cause hypersensitivity by the test bomb. This inorganic silica powder or quartz filling can be without metallic mixtures, or some non-allergenic calcium carbonate rock. As for the special resin, it has been known a natural that is sold in Ethiopia, from a particular tree. Regarding the inorganic filler, it seems that it would be the least difficult to find, as long as it approached a proven natural ecological character, and away from having allergenic metals, among which there seems to be only calcium egg, hydroxyapatite and some another one to determine. By finding a suitable cementitious resin, slightly contractive, the inorganic filler could well be a pulverized natural material that would be cemented with such resin. Ship repairers in cages do it with resin and its catalyst, mixed with an inorganic silica powder filling, with a fabric to give structure, and this mixture completely very naturally, very quickly cements any type of breakage and hole of any ship, so that it never breaks down again, because its mechanical strength and hardness is unbeatable. 17. Initially, a simple process is the following: obtain the resin of a concrete tree from Ethiopia, and mix it with silica or quartz without metals powder, and such mixture can be placed by a true ecological dentist in Spain,